director of the dubious Ray Palpatine film, Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, upset me.
I enjoy making men uncomfortable.
I'm beyond uncomfortable.
I can feel your anger.
Yes, she might be the first woman to direct a Star Wars film. Keyword, might. I have my doubts about Rey's future, and I won't diminish SOC's experiences in Pakistan that inspired her documentaries. For me, if you please, just 2 questions. 1, does SOC care about Star Wars? 2, can she direct a major motion picture? You'll hear her comments in a few minutes. After Lucasfilm has all but destroyed my beloved IP, forgive me for questioning a righteous, inexpert director with a guaranteed flop on her hands. I'd be shocked to hear anyone employed by the studio reference George Lucas, speak informedly about the lore, or show appreciation for a golden opportunity. Well, let's hear from those who view Star Wars as a lectern. Writers, directors, and executives who profit regardless of outcomes. Grifters who elevate themselves through physical characteristics, not talents. And so-called activists who, as they allege disadvantages, accrue significant advantages. Now, in their own words, both truths and lies. First, Rian Johnson, writer and director of The Last Jedi, explaining his primary objective as a filmmaker 11 years before Kathleen Kennedy hired him. According to her, Johnson will have his own Star Wars trilogy once his schedule clears.
I would be worried if everybody across the board was like, yeah, that was a good movie. It's much more exciting to me when you get, a group of people who are like coming up to you and really, really excited about it, and you know it's going to be something that they're having their DVD collection. And then there are other people who walk out literally saying that was the worst movie I've ever seen. Having those 2 extremes to me is the mark of the type of movie that I want to make.
It's why you fail.
Second, J.J. Abrams, writer and director of The Force Awakens and The Rise of Skywalker, reflecting on his work.
But having a plan, I have learned in some cases the hard way, is the most, critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up.
That's not how the Force works.
Next, Patty Jenkins, canceled director of the canceled Rogue Squadron film, discussing her challenges in show business.
Women directors often get judged by the performance of previous women directors.
Oh, big time.
That doesn't happen for men in Hollywood.
No.
Why is that?
I want to be a great director, not a great woman director. But at the moment, the world is still preoccupied with the fact that I'm a woman director. That's the struggle.
Is it changing at all?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I feel, interestingly, that the director in me wants this film that I made to succeed. But the person who's not me at all, who lives inside of me, who's outside of me, is like, heard people say for many years, oh, nobody would go see a female superhero film. Women don't like action, all those things. That part of me is watching saying, God, let's prove them wrong.
Fourth, Leslie Hedland, writer and director of The Acolyte, assessing George Lucas's importance.
What we understand to be Star Wars, the idea that that only came from George Lucas, that only George Lucas holds the key for what we understand to be Star Wars is just untrue. And I think the prequels are an excellent example of that. But that's the misogyny and the problem with the auteur myth.
Your overconfidence is your weakness.
Next, Taika Waititi, director of The Mandalorian and creator of an upcoming untitled Star Wars film, speaking about DEI in Hollywood.
I did ask a ChatGPT, I said, hello, can you please explain to me how Hollywood is failing to address and remedy the issue of diversity and inclusivity in film and television? It was long. The answer was long. But they're pretty obvious ones: lack of representation, whitewashing and stereotyping, limited opportunities, pay and compensation disparities, tokenism, performative activism, lack of authentic representation, gatekeeping and industry practices. Now, if AI can do that in 8 seconds and it gets it, what's taking so long? And there's a lot of people in this town, this town who still don't get it and still kind of refuse to get it.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Sixth, Bob Iger, Disney's CEO, promising to prioritize storytelling over the message.
I think what had happened over a period of time, it was building and building, and maybe it reached a peak of some sort while I was gone, is that creators lost sight of what their number one objective needed to be. Entertain, and if you can infuse it with positive messages, have a good impact on the world, fantastic. But that should not be the objective. When I came back, what I've really tried to do is to return to our roots, which is, remember, we have to entertain first. It's not about messages. If you can do, again, if your story can have a positive impact, so there's that. And I've worked hard since I've been back at reminding the creative community, who are our partners, in some cases our employees, that that's the objective. And I don't really want to tolerate the opposite.
Liar! Finally, 2 clips with Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, director of an upcoming untitled Star Wars film about Rey Palpatine.
We're in 2024 now, and I think it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape the story in a galaxy far, far away. My body of work over the last 20 years has been guided by my activism, and every single piece of work that I've ever created has a piece of activism in it. It could be very overt or it could be covert, but it is there. And I think that as a storyteller, I'm not sure if all of you know this, but I'm not a trained filmmaker. So I never went to film school. What?
Some excuse SOC's statements with an out-of-context claim. I would consider that defense if she didn't completely fit the mold. If her assertions didn't align perfectly with all Lucasfilm's messaging since 2012. Let's not pretend this brand of activism is new to Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger treat Disney's IP as platforms. They want everyone to join the Panderverse. Will you support them? Will you point a finger and scream at free thinkers? Or will you question the profiteers, grifters, and activists who've taken over Star Wars? Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Check out Galactic Initiative for honest perspectives on Star Wars.
Galactic Initiative is not authorized or endorsed by Lucasfilm Limited. The name Star Wars and all related materials are registered trademarks of Lucasfilm Limited, a subsidiary of the Walt Disney Company, by rights reserved. Galactic Initiative is a registered trademark, and other product and company names are trademarks of their respective holders. Use does not imply affiliation or endorsement.